Picture this, folks. A dude on TikTok's literally experimenting live with his own body. First day, he's munching on 2 slices of pizza and checking his glucose. Boom. 180 milligrams per deciliter. Sound bad? Yeah, it does. But then, and this is where it gets absolutely bonkers, he chugs a glass of water mixed with apple cider vinegar. Waits 10 minutes. Eats those exact same 2 slices. Tests again. 140 milligrams per deciliter. That's a jaw-dropping 40-point difference, my friends. Same pizza. Same body. Just one tiny variable changed the entire story. The video went absolutely viral. 12 million views, 800K shares. But here's what the algorithm didn't show you, and trust me, this is crucial to understand before you even think about trying this yourself. Now, there's this Austrian woman, 28 years old, doing exactly what millions are about to start doing after they watch this video. She was religiously consuming diluted apple cider vinegar in a glass of water every single day. 4 years, actually. And then, her bones literally betrayed her. Doctors found severe osteoporosis. We're talking about someone whose skeletal system looked like an 80-year-old's. Her potassium levels? Dangerously, catastrophically low. Her cardiologist delivered the chilling truth. 1 more week and you'd have suffered a fatal heart arrhythmia. This isn't some made-up cautionary tale. This is real. This happened. And it happened to someone just like you. So before you rush to Amazon to order the fancy organic bottles, we gotta dig deep into what's actually going on here. Why some doctors are practically prescribing this stuff while others are banning it completely. Fast forward back 2,400 years. Ancient Greece. Here's where everything started. Hippocrates himself. Yeah, that Hippocrates, the literal father of modern medicine, didn't have fancy pills or sleek health apps. What did he do instead? He created this simple mixture called oxymel. That's vinegar blended with honey. Sounds almost too simple, right? But he prescribed this for persistent coughs, wounds that refuse to heal, and, here's the kicker, to balance digestion and what he called the internal fire of the human body. The man believed vinegar actually refreshed the stomach and helped your body process those heavy meals without leaving you tossing and turning all night. But here's the million-dollar question that's been nagging at scientists for centuries. Was Hippocrates genuinely onto something profound, or was he just another genius who got lucky? That's exactly what we're gonna unpack. Let's rewind to that pizza experiment because it wasn't coincidence at all. Scientists at the University of Arizona ran this study back in 2019. They tracked 14 people living with type 2 diabetes. Yeah, not huge numbers, but stay with me. Half of them took 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar diluted before bed. The other half, just plain water. Nothing fancy. Fast forward 12 weeks. The vinegar crew. Their fasting glucose dropped a full 6%. Now you're thinking that's it? Just 6%. Hold up though. A massive meta-analysis dropped in 2025 through Frontiers in Nutrition. The researchers basically threw every single apple cider vinegar study into the mix. What surfaced was honestly mind-blowing. Fasting glucose plummeting an average of 22 milligrams per deciliter, and hemoglobin A1C dropping 1.5 points. That's the difference between prediabetes and healthy territory. That's literally the gap between taking medication forever or walking around actually healthy. The mechanism. It's fascinating stuff. The vinegar acts like a sophisticated brake system on your body. It slows your stomach down. It blocks enzymes so less starch transforms into sugar. It actually calms your liver, which stops producing excess glucose during those nighttime hours. But here's where the timing gets absolutely genius. Around 4 in the morning, while you're sound asleep, your liver goes ahead and dumps glucose into your bloodstream. It's completely natural for healthy people. Totally normal. But for diabetics, it's like someone's turned the faucet up way too high. That phenomenon is called the dawn effect, and it's a real nightmare for blood sugar management. This is precisely why taking vinegar before sleep matters so much more than taking it in the morning. You're essentially placing that brake exactly where your body needs it most, right before the liver's about to go into overdrive. The nighttime dose is intercepting the problem before it even starts, which is infinitely smarter than playing catch-up during daylight hours. Though, and this is super important, if you're already on insulin or metformin, vinegar can seriously amplify what those medications are already doing. Your glucose could tank too low. That's not healthy either. It's a balancing act. So you've got to be monitoring consistently and keeping your doctor completely in the loop about what you're experimenting with. Here's something wild that most people genuinely don't grasp. Your gut hosts 100 trillion bacteria. 100 trillion. That's not an exaggeration or hyperbole. That's literal scientific fact. And get this, your intestines work their absolute hardest during nighttime hours. It's when the real magic happens. Recent research uncovered something honestly fascinating. Apple cider vinegar performs what we might call a selective cleaning operation while you're dreaming. It doesn't just wipe everything out indiscriminately. Instead, it cranks up the good bacteria. We're talking Akkermansia mucinifera. Scientists actually call this the leanness bacterium, because lean people are absolutely teeming with it while obese individuals have barely any. Then there's lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, your intestinal bodyguards, basically. Meanwhile, it eliminates the troublemakers. The E. coli that causes infections. The staphylococcus that leads to food poisoning. The candida fungus that causes never-ending yeast infections that drive you absolutely insane. It's genuinely like having a natural antibiotic and a probiotic working in perfect tandem. But the nighttime timing? That's where the brilliance really reveals itself, because that's when your intestinal walls regenerate and your beneficial bacteria multiply exponentially. It's literally the body's scheduled maintenance window. Think about this scenario because it happens to nearly everyone. You visit your doctor, get your blood pressure checked, and it reads 130/90. The doctor squints at the monitor and says those fateful words, "Borderline. We should keep an eye on this." So you nod, convince yourself it's probably fine, and never think about it again. Dangerous game you're playing, by the way. A meta-analysis from December 2022 compiled literally every study on vinegar and blood pressure control. What they discovered genuinely matters. Consuming 30 milliliters of vinegar daily reduces systolic pressure by 3.25 millimeters of mercury and diastolic pressure by 3.33. And yeah, you're thinking, that's basically nothing. But here's where the plot thickens. Every single 5-point reduction in blood pressure translates to approximately a 10% reduction in stroke risk. So 3 points means you're looking at roughly 6% less danger of a catastrophic event. Over a decade. That could legitimately be the determining factor between having a stroke and living stroke-free. The real secret lies in what happens during sleep. Your pressure naturally tanks while you're resting. It's called dipping nocturno. Healthy people experience a 10 to 20% drop. Hypertensive individuals, they barely dip at all, they're non-dippers. And that alone doubles their cardiac risk profile. Vinegar before sleep? It restores that natural dipping pattern. Because apple cider vinegar is fermented, it's absolutely loaded with natural probiotics, especially when you grab those whole vinegars that don't filter everything out. These probiotics balance your entire microbial ecosystem and revolutionize immune function in ways most people never consider. Here's the cascade. Vinegar's probiotics equilibrate your gut microbiota, strengthen intestinal health, amplify cellular immunity. And this is where it becomes genuinely revolutionary. 70%, we're talking about the majority, of your entire immune system lives directly in your intestines. It's not in your lymph nodes or spleen. It's down there in your gut, and it's waiting for the right support. November 2024 brought an absolutely intriguing study published in Microbial Pathogenesis. Researchers tested apple cider vinegar directly against hospital superbacteria, the kind that laugh at multiple antibiotics. E. coli that's resistant to everything. Klebsiella pneumoniae that conventional treatments bounce right off. And apple cider vinegar? It showed legitimate antibacterial activity against both pathogens. Bacteria that shrug off pharmaceutical interventions actually became vulnerable to this simple fermented liquid. Now, sure, it was preclinical research, not human trials, but the implications are honestly staggering. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., that's your immune system's peak regeneration window. Your body's literally manufacturing T cells that obliterate viruses, crafting antibodies that form your defensive memory, and activating natural killer cells that destroy abnormal cells before they become problems. Let's get brutally honest about something because the internet constantly lies to you about weight loss. Lebanon, 2024. 120 individuals between 12 and 25 years old. Single tablespoon of vinegar mixed with water every morning for 3 months. Results: they shed 7 whole kilos. That's absolutely impressive, right? But then Japan, 2009, throws us a curveball. 155 adults consuming 2 tablespoons of vinegar daily for the same duration. Results: 2 kilos lost over 3 months. Why the massive disparity? Different ages, different metabolisms, completely different baseline expectations. But here comes the truth that nobody wants to hear. The one study that actually tracked what happened after people stopped taking vinegar. They reclaimed almost everything they lost within a single month. Almost all of it came roaring back. Here's what vinegar authentically accomplishes. It slows digestion down by approximately 17%, which makes you feel genuinely satisfied for longer stretches. It reduces carbohydrate absorption, which means fewer calories get converted into stored body fat. It potentially amplifies satiety hormones, so your brain receives legitimate "I'm full" signals. You can eat 200 to 275 fewer calories daily just by incorporating this. And you know what absolutely destroys diets? Nighttime hunger. You finish dinner at 8 p.m., and by 11 p.m. you're raiding the refrigerator like you haven't eaten in weeks. Taking vinegar before sleep actually maintains that satisfied feeling right into your dreams so you're not waking up starving. Animal studies demonstrate that acetic acid genuinely reduces fat accumulation in both liver and abdominal areas. Human evidence. It's honestly mixed. Some people experience dramatic results. Others see absolutely nothing. Now I'm about to reveal something that contradicts practically everything you've encountered online, and this is the crucial takeaway you absolutely cannot forget. The safest, most effective way to consume apple cider vinegar? It's not diluted in water before sleep. Genuinely shocking, isn't it? The actual expert protocol is incorporating it directly into your food. Your salad dressing, 2 tablespoons of vinegar mixed with olive oil and garlic powder, gives you probiotics and prebiotics in perfect synergy for intestinal wellness. Drizzle it into rice while cooking, Mediterranean style, with just 1 tablespoon. Use it as a marinade for your proteins and vegetables. Mix it into bread dips. You receive all the documented benefits without any associated risks. The advantages are completely identical whether you're consuming it in your meals or drinking it as a beverage. So why would you ever take unnecessary chances with your esophagus and tooth enamel? If you absolutely insist on drinking it, here's non-negotiable. Always dilute between 15 to 30 milliliters in 240 milliliters of warm, never cold water. Use a metal straw to protect your teeth. Consume 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Never immediately before laying down. Rinse your mouth immediately afterward. Wait a complete 30 minutes before brushing your teeth. Never consume it pure. It corrodes your esophagus like battery acid. There are documented cases of esophageal perforation. For absolute beginners, incorporate it into your meals for weeks 1 to 2 with just 1 teaspoon in your salad dressing. Weeks 3 to 4, bump that to 2 teaspoons. Week 5 onward, gradually progress to 1 or 2 tablespoons. If you insist on drinking it, start with a single diluted teaspoon and observe for an entire week. Any discomfort whatsoever means you stop immediately. Apple cider vinegar absolutely possesses real, scientifically validated benefits. The glucose control is genuine. The immune support is documented. The cardiovascular protection is measurable. But, and this is the absolute foundation of this entire message, the safest, most intelligent application is in your food. In your salads. In your rice. In your marinades. Want those nighttime benefits? Use it at dinner in your meals. Simple as that. If you're choosing to drink it, never consume it pure, never right before sleep, and absolutely don't become that Austrian woman who consumed diluted vinegar daily for 6 years straight and nearly destroyed her skeletal system. Because here's the universal truth I always emphasize. Nothing in excessive amounts benefits your body. Nothing. Ever. Share this video with someone who needs this information. Genuinely, I mean it, and let me know down in the comments which approach you're going to take with your vinegar journey.